going down. I'm yelling timber, you better move, you better dance. Let's make a night you won't remember.
Welcome to the 360 Sports Network virtual draft guide for fantasy football, where we give you draft strategies, your running back rankings, quarterback rankings, all position rankings that you could ask for, mock drafts, anything you could want to help get your fantasy football team to where it needs to be. And most importantly, when it comes to fantasy football, is the draft and the cheat sheets that you use for the draft, and why spend money even when you go and get these cheat sheets, when you can get them for free from our website. And what's even better, you can get them completely customizable by plugging in your league settings. Now, a lot of you have heard about our customizable cheat sheets, but have been asking, well, how exactly do I use them? Well, that's what we're going to look at today. How can you use these customizable cheat sheets on our website to the best that you can? And this is how we're going to do it. First, you're going to go to 360sportsnetwork.com. Our homepage will come up right here, and you can tell you already, it says click here to get our customizable cheat sheets. So we'll click right here on cheat sheets, and a page will come up telling you a little bit more about it. You'll scroll down, it says click on our helmet to download our cheat sheets. And when you do that, you should get a pop-up window that says, well, do you want to download this? Yes, you should. I would recommend saving it, like to your desktop, somewhere where you can get it easily, or save multiple copies, and I'll explain why later. Or you can just open it, which is what I'm going to do right now. And when you open it, it's just a basic Excel file. So Microsoft Excel will open up, and this is what will pop up. One of the main things I want to point out is, most of the time, because this is something you've downloaded from the internet, and it has macros for programs on it, they're going to be automatically disabled. What you want to do here is just click Enable Content, because otherwise you won't be able to use them to your full capabilities. Now, this is what you'll see, this main screen. Really, all the work is already done for you. This is for a standard league that you see pretty much on any of the major fantasy football websites. This is the scoring system that is going to be used. And when you do that, all you would have to do is click Create Cheat Sheets, and just watch what happens. It'll kind of look like it's freaking out a bit, but then all of a sudden it's going to bring you up with this page that has a bunch of players on it, and they're already individually ranked. You have right here your overall position. Then next is the position and what. So for example, Calvin Johnson is 6th overall, but he's the first wide receiver. That's why he's wide receiver 1. Obviously, team, bye week, and you have numbers 1 through 300. Now notice it puts you right on there. You also have this tab here for positional, and this will break them down now by each position that you can use. And you can see down here at the bottom too, it has a little bit of a kind of guide for you of what each one does, or what each individual spot means. Alright, now this data page here, you can look at it if you want. Pretty much it's just a little extra thing for you in terms of making sure you know, or in terms of getting everything lined up the way it is. Don't even worry about that. But if we go back to this main home page here, the things I want to point out first of all are, again, we said this is a standard league. Down here it says updated on August 10th. That's the last time that we did a full stats update. Anytime that you go back to our website and click on that helmet back on the home page, you are able to get the latest projected stats that we get. Now, that doesn't mean that those projected stats are exactly what you might agree with. We'll get to that in a minute about how you can adjust that. But first, let's look at, okay, what your scoring system is. Again, this is a standard league to begin with. Let's say you're in a league that all the touchdowns are equal. So what we're going to look at here is, well, passing touchdowns in the standard league are only 4 points. Well, in my league, it's 6 points for a passing touchdown. So all I'm going to do is go to it and type in 6. So now all passing touchdowns are worth 6 points. Maybe in this league also, turnovers don't mean anything. So interceptions, instead of losing you points, don't lose you anything. Fumbles lost, they don't lose you anything either. Okay? So that's just a couple things you could do. Maybe it's also a points per reception league. Maybe I get, we'll say, a half a point for a reception. And some also bonus options here. Okay, I'm also going to get an extra bonus point anytime a quarterback goes over 300 yards or a rusher or a receiver goes over 100 yards. These are just some of the different options that you can play around with. The other cool thing, most leagues go by how many points per game for your defenses, and they go by ranges normally. Now, sometimes they go by this range. This is the most common ones you see, 2 to 6, 7 to 13, etc. But sometimes they go based on how many points allowed total. So there's a difference between allowing 3 points per game versus 6 points per game. And there can be a difference there. If that is the case, what you would do, right now it's under point ranges, so it's based on this. Let's say you have a different strategy game where it's based on how many points. You hit this drop-down menu, go to points per game. Let's say in that you start with 10 points. So if they shut out a team, you get 10 points. And then for every point that they allow, you lose, we'll say, a half of a point. That's another different way to go. So that's how our defenses are set up. We'll keep the kickers the same. Alright, now let's say this is a very unique league. Instead of 12 teams in it, there are, we'll say, only 10 teams. Let's make it more fun. Let's go with a 14-team league. Alright? Right now we have running backs and wideouts each at 2.5. That means that we have a flex position that would involve running backs and wideouts. Let's say we also have, in that flex, it could be a running back, wideout, or a tight end. What you need to do, and it tells you here, you want to have that flex position, that fractional position, add up to equal 1. Well, let's also say because it's points per reception, that means wide receivers maybe are going to be a little bit more heavily desired than a running back. And tight end maybe will get a little bit of love there, but not as much as it would be. So we have, it looks like, 1 quarterback starting, 2 running backs, 2 wideouts, tight end, kicker, defense, and then this flex is where the optional stuff comes in. So what we're going to do is I need to make sure the fractions all add up to the 1 flex position. Well, tight end is going to be a little important. I'll give it a little boost. I'll give it a 1.1. Wide receivers, I think, are going to be the biggest. I'm going to boost that even more to 2.6 and dumb down the running backs a little bit to a 2.3. And you can do that based on your personal strategy, how your league normally runs, or how you feel it runs if you've done it before, or just based on what your scoring is, what you want to personally favor more. Okay? And again, we have a 14-team league is what we'll do here. When you've got everything set up perfectly right, again, you would hit Create Cheat Sheets. It'll go through the whole process again, and we'll see what happens. All of a sudden, Calvin Johnson jumped up to be the number 2 guy overall. Peyton Manning even jumped up a little bit as well because there are more quarterbacks that will need to be taken. So you can see how things have changed. You can go to your top 300 and your positional players again and see exactly how things look and how you might want to adjust your draft accordingly. Now again, all of these are based on projected stats that our 3SN team have come up with. And you can look at those. We have all these individual tabs here that I haven't mentioned yet, all these positions. Let's look at the quarterback tab, for example. We have the quarterbacks here, bye week, points. What happens here, this is our value-based draft rating. And this is what the big part is. Essentially, what it does is based on the number of starters that you would have. So again, for quarterbacks, we just did a 14-team league with 1 quarterback in each. That means 14 starters. Well, would you know, the top 14 players are all ones that have a positive value. Anybody who's a negative value obviously is not going to be as good because, well, they would supposedly be on your bench. That's why they're a negative value. It does that for all the positions. If we look at running backs, we can go to wideouts, tight end, again, same thing. Where does the breakoff come up? Now, tight end, there's only 14 starters for 14 teams. However, we gave a little bit extra in case a tight end might be used as the flex. That's why we actually go down to having 15 guys here with the positive value on them. But let's go back to the quarterbacks real quick. These stats are all that ones, again, that we have projected for the year. Now, let's say, for example, let's look at an example of maybe Tony Romo. Right here, he's rated 8th overall in terms of what this system is. Well, maybe you're looking at this and you're not as sure about him coming off of his injury. You don't think he's going to throw for quite that many yards. What you can do is just go right through and edit it. Maybe he'll have 200 yet less yards. Maybe he'll only go to about 4,200, and maybe you think he's only going to have 28 touchdowns instead of 32, for example. And you can do this for any one of these players in any one of the stat categories. Same thing, maybe you think Eddie Lacy won't have as good of a year. He'll only be at about 1,050 yards, stuff like that. So right now we had, just so you can see comparatively wise, if we look at our positions, Tony Romo was 8th, Eddie Lacy was 7th. Just making those two changes based on what you think, trying to correct some of the errors that we might have, if I go through and create again, let's see what happens. Let's go to our positions. Tony Romo has now dropped big time. I don't even see him. He's now dropped all the way from 8th to 18th based on what your projections are compared to mine. And same thing, where did Eddie Lacy go? He dropped from 7th down to 12th. So you can make any and all adjustments at any position that you want to. Now what you can do again, looking through what works best for you, or how you think people are going to be projected based on everybody else. You can also then go through and say, okay, what else can I change, or what else might be different? Or maybe, let's even make it so it's even. Let's say the wideouts and running backs are even in that flex position. You can adjust that. All you have to do at the end, click Create Cheat Sheets again, and you'll go right through, and you'll create your whole new set again. Another thing you can do with our customizable cheat sheets is we have all these players listed on here, but let's even look even further into it. Maybe there's somebody who you're really going hard after, but a lot of people don't think about. So you kind of want to think, okay, what can I do with them? So let's say right here, Austin Pettis, not as high on him. I'm never going to draft him. I don't care if somebody else does. I want to get rid of him. Let's say one of my favorite guys from college, Jordan Norwood. Maybe I wanted to draft him instead. And he plays in Denver. Watch when I do Denver. All of a sudden, the bye week will update. Well, of course, he was also week 4. That doesn't help you much there. But what we're going to look at now is how can I adjust his stats. Maybe I'll punch in based on projections and what I've seen. He'll average about, 2 catches a game. Say however many yards he'll get. We'll say 345 yards, and he'll get 3 touchdowns. Something like that. But you can plug in your own guys wherever you need. And in some of these positions, we even have little free agent spots open. So maybe at quarterback, another guy who you want to really look at is, I don't know, let's say Tarvaris Jackson, who is, I think, still in Seattle. I'm not even sure. But I can go and plug in his stats as well and plug in whatever I want and see how he would fit into the rankings. Now, the toughest part, well, and it's really not that tough, all you need to do, once you've hit Create Cheat Sheet, then it's time to actually print them out. Well, I mean, if you want a paper copy, that is. All you'll go is to go to File, Print. So when you go File, Print, and what happens here is it'll come right up. You can see the screen. You hit Print, and you're ready to go. Same thing, you would then, after you hit Print, make sure you do the same for the positional page. File, Print, you'll have the same one pop up. And when you look at your sheets down here, again, it tells you a little bit of a guide, but the main thing here, what date you created it. So I just made them today on August 12th. That's when you created them versus when the last update was that you can use as well. So keep this all in mind, and again, you can keep going back and get our updated projected stats as time goes along. And again, you can also make your own adjustments based on what you've seen, what you feel, and how your league is run, and even based on how your opponents do. For example, maybe you're from the D.C. area, and Robert Griffin III at number 11 quarterback doesn't make much sense to you. You think he'd go a lot earlier. Well, let's just kind of boost his stats a little bit. From 38-20, let's make him 39-78. Or let's give him, okay, instead of 23, we'll give him 26 touchdowns now. Little things like that can make a huge difference. You saw it already with Tony Romo dropping 10 positions just for making one little change. Those are the things you can do. Play around with them, see what you can get, and then do this differently for each league. So once you've gotten everything the way you like it for this league, I would then save this on your desktop with that specific league title. If then you do a second league, go back to the original file, or go back to the website, download the cheat sheets again, and start from scratch and get a brand new set, brand new projections, everything that you need. But I would suggest going first, if you want to get really in depth with them, go through, get the projections on each page the way you want them first, then save it. That way you can use those projections for every single league you want. Or again, if you can print them out, that makes it even easier. Just have them printed out, then you can start again. This league only has a 10-team league, but it has 2 quarterbacks starting. Let's see what happens when that goes through. We'll click it, go through, and now you have quarterbacks are at a premium. 3 in the top 4 picks would be quarterbacks. So it's interesting even for that to see how the league changes what it would be. A couple of quick things too. If we have asterisks by a couple names, you'll notice Ace Sanders, Ray Rice is on there, Josh Gordon as well. Those are guys who are going to be missing games for sure based on injury or more than likely based on suspension. Ray Rice for 2 games, Josh Gordon who knows how many games. So those are a couple ideas of more things to look at. If you have any questions, please check us out, 360sportsnetwork.com, on Twitter at 3SNetwork. Let us know how we can make these customizable cheat sheets even easier for you, because in the end, using just this will guarantee at least a 2-position upgrade from anything you've done before, just because you now are using cheat sheets that are made specifically for you, specifically for your league. And that's all it can be, can make a difference between a win and a loss. And let me just give you one more example. Let's say we're in a pretty much standard league. Let me set it up so it's back to standard. Passing touchdowns, only 4 points. We'll even keep it as a PPR league. There's even a league that I've played in that was accidental, where a league setup, it just didn't quite go right. What they did, beyond points per reception, they also made it a points per completion league. So a 0.5. But before I do that, let me make this standard again. We are standard. Let me create the cheat sheets just so you can see what it looks like. Where do our quarterbacks rank overall? We see the first quarterback at number 10, and we don't see the second one until about 20 and 28 as our top 3. In this league, it was accidentally put together as a points per completion league, and it ended up being that receiving yards were the same as passing yards. It took 25 receiving yards to get 1 point. It was an honest mistake. It just kind of went through that way, but that's the way it ended up being set up. Some people knew that, didn't change their strategy. I knew it. I used our sheets. I plugged them in like this, and look at what the difference makes and how much more important a quarterback becomes. All of a sudden, Peyton Manning jumps to number 1. Drew Brees jumps from 20 to number 3, and look where the top wideouts have dropped down to. Even with PPR, it doesn't look as good, but you get a lot more of the big receiving running backs that get caught up there as a result. So that's the best way to try to use these to the best of your ability. I wish you best of luck. Again, send us any questions at 3S Network on Twitter. We'd love to help you get the best team that you possibly can. Thank you very much, and happy fantasy going.